of what we're going to climb. That was the peak of it. Because we're clear.
I'll make this.
Let's go.
Move your body, move your soul. Oh my god.
So often in life we end up tuning things out. It makes no sense when you pedal out to the hills, like going all the way through in between the hills. That's it. Slide the deep breath in. Slide the right foot to the inside because it'll get up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, sit yourself all the way. Roll yourself forward into a plank pose. And just roll yourself. Reach over. Exhale down. We're going to lift the right. Go ahead and reach the right hand. Lift the right foot. Go ahead and bend your elbow. Slow then lift the left leg. Left arm reaches up to the ceiling. Take your time. Hands come down to the ground. Stay here and soften around between your legs. Okay, scoop yourself. Alright, finger hamstrings. Press down. Lift up a little higher. It's practice.
So we are here finally. We were driving down so today is Wednesday, all of last week, Monday through to Wednesday. Took the ferry from Ireland in the evening on Monday, was on the ferry pretty much all day Tuesday, then started driving down the length of France on Wednesday. And we arrived the Wednesday evening. So I'm down in the south of France. This is where I grew up, but not this place. This is an Airbnb that we rented. That's very cute. It's very it's quite small. It's pretty much all we could afford, but nested onto the house next door. It's like adjoining the house next door, and they're the owners, and they're super lovely, like a little French couple, and were very, very accommodating when we arrived, of us and our two massive dogs, so that was great. So far it's a very dog friendly country. It's been a while since I've spent any significant time here, and I hadn't really quite noticed how dog friendly they are, which is great. And yeah, I'm just been chilling this morning. We went for an early WALK with the dogs this morning, around the park, which is just up towards like a forest, and then you kind of go through the forest and into this big park. There's loads and loads of dogs out, and we keep meeting new dogs every day, which is really cute. And so we did that this morning. I did some yoga, which it's a humbling experience. Is probably hear that plane overhead. It's recording yourself doing yoga. Especially I'm doing this Peloton yoga, but it's Kira Michelle is the instructor, and I've been trying to do a lot of her intermediate ones, and it's kicking my butt. It's really tough. I used to really only do yoga with Adrian, but yeah, this one is a lot more intense, and yeah, it just kicks my butt. So yeah, hopefully I don't get too self-conscious and not include that in the video. We'll see. And yeah, I'm just knitting away. So I started my Miles tee when I was driving down. Let me get to the end of the row and I can show you. I chose the Miles tee just because it was a fingering weight drop shoulder t-shirt pattern, and I'm using my 2 balls of Pure Silk by Knitting for Olive, and I'm doing sort of a striped pattern, and then I modified the shoulder of the Miles tee has like an eyelet detail along the shoulder, but it does have just like traditional make one right, make one left increases, and so I just modified the shoulder by moving the increases and the decreases over to where I imagined it would look like in the sibling sweater, and I just removed the eyelets, so it's basically just like a traditional drop shoulder increase on either side. You know, you start with like a block and then you increase either side until you get a trapezoid, but yeah, just I had like in the end I had 11 stitches either side of the, or like on one side of the increases, because I knew I would lose 1 stitch to picking up on the shoulder, and then 10 just seemed kind of like the width that I wanted. My stripes are 12 rows long, so I was kind of going for the width being pretty much equivalent to the length of the stripes, if that makes sense. I'll be able to show you once I finish this row, which is taking longer than expected. And I have been reading, Lapvona, which it's not what I thought it would be. I think, you know, I didn't really know much about it apart from the cover and some brief recommendations on like book Instagram, but I'd heard good things about the author, and I think the cover is just really compelling, and then so I thrifted this and I brought it home, and then when I did, I also realized that I had, page my own 170, the most perfect bookmark. Like, it's not a bookmark, it's a postcard, but yeah, I picked this up in the Prado when I was in Madrid, and I'm guessing it's like, it's not exactly the same painting, but I think it's like inspired by, so that felt very serendipitous, and yeah, I'm about halfway through, spent pretty much all of last night reading, so it's nice. It's not something I usually do at home. Yeah, the one thing about the Pure Silk is that it does get awfully tangled. Okay, hang on. So this is my back panel. You can see how drapey the silk is. And then these are my shoulder increases. It looks very tight right now, but I'm guessing it's everything I've heard about the Pure Silk is that it's like super drapey and then it blocks out massive. So I've purposely been very like just not worrying too much about it looking quite small. So yeah, this is the top of my shoulder, and I can't really put it across because I've got quite a short cable. But yeah, I did all of the increases as per pattern. I'm a bit off on gauge, so I've got like a 20, I've measured it again, I think actually maybe I'm closer to a 24 stitch than I was before, but maybe like 22, 23, and the target gauge I think is 24. On much bigger needles it's like 3.5 mil, and this is on 3mm needles. What was I gonna say? I think it'll look nice. Very excited. Yeah, so I'm making the size M, but following the length measurements for the size L, because I think that's kind of the one I'm going for. Just also bearing in mind that I think this will stretch out quite a bit, but I think I'm like 3 centimeters away from the length, and then I will break and pick up along the shoulders so we started with the blue up here. Maybe I should calculate how many rows that will be just so it'll line up on the stripes. I think I'm gonna have to do some fudgery to make the stripes line up when I join under the arm, but I was planning on using the beige to pick up because we started with the grey, but I'm not sure now because it's got that stripe pattern. It won't actually matter what color I pick up with. But yeah, I might have to do some maths and figure out what would be best to start with, so that it doesn't end up like completely at the opposite color on the other side. We'll see. And yeah, that's me. I'll check in with you soon. You okay? So I should probably film this before it gets dark. It's a couple of days later than from when I last filmed. I think actually when I was last talking to you, I was working on the same thing and also reading the same thing. But yeah, a bit has happened in between. I think it was like midweek. Today it's Saturday. We had a lovely morning. We went to a couple of car boots this morning, and drove into Antibes and hung out a bit in Antibes. Had a coffee, had some lunch. There's a Pokeball place that we really like there, which is really random. It's not traditional from the region at all, but it's like this chain and they do really good Pokeballs. Like really good, like not healthy. Like the rice is like definitely got sugar and salt and stuff in it anyway, but it tastes really, really good, and the salmon's really fresh. Did that, and then Kate went via the shops. We went to a really, really large Carrefour, which was overwhelming. Which is really intense. We were just trying to get a couple of things, and then it was also the time I think where everyone had the same idea to go to the shops, so yeah, it was very busy. And yeah, just chilling, sun's going down, just having a chill moment before I make dinner. Neighborhood dog saying hello. I'm still working, I haven't got very far, still working on my Miles tea, but I've started on the shoulder. Look at that increase, looks so cute. It's kind of pulling a bit, you can kind of see the colors, but I'm hoping that won't look so terrible once it's blocked. And yeah, I haven't put too much time on this. I've been mostly working on my clematis sweater, which I'm almost done on. I finished the bottom rib, I finished the whole body. Just need to bind off the bottom rib, and then I just have to do the collar and the button bands, which I think I could probably finish this evening. And then the only thing I don't have any buttons with me. I didn't think about that. So I won't be fully finished until, and like wearable, because I don't really think you can wear it without the buttons, for a little bit. But yeah, I might try and order some, or maybe drop into a haberdashery whilst I'm here. But yeah, I'm super excited that that's almost done. I flew through that project. It's probably the quickest I have ever made anything ever. Like I just like sped through it. Given the gauge that it was on 4mm needles, I really sped through it. So favorite summer drink, an Americano, which is my hands in the way, which is martini and Campari, and a bit of orange and some soda water. But yeah, it's quite bitter, but I quite like bitter, so we really enjoy this. And it's like basically just like pure alcohol. So I don't have too many on an empty stomach is our rule. And I've been doing some running this week because basically I'm in withdrawal from my Peloton, because we live out in the countryside in Kildare. I find that I don't really get that many steps in, and so I find that I really have to do some form of exercise that, like at the end of the workday, just to get my body moving. But yeah, I'm a bit addicted to it, I think, and I'm really missing it. I have the Peloton yoga, and I've been doing that. Cardio, I don't really have anything. I could maybe do the HIIT classes, but it's a bit awkward. Like, it's quite a loud thing to do in the middle of the day whilst like the family is like just there. So yeah, I've been trying to run, and I'm not a good runner, and I'm aching everywhere, and I can barely make it like one way around the park that we go to. So that's been fun. And yeah, for tomorrow, more of the same. I think we'll go to another car boot. We're into our car boots. They're really fun here. It's difficult with the dogs. We have to bring the dogs with us to the car boots because leaving them here isn't really an option. We could, but I think they would just get really panicked and probably like start chewing things, and like that's not fun for anyone. So we've just resorted to sort of taking them with us, but they're quite big dogs and they're quite loud. So it makes for a fun adventure, and a little bit stressful, like a lot of like sensory overload, especially when it's hot, which it is. It's like it's been like 23 to 26 degrees today, and they're not dogs that deal with the heat very well. My clematis, I'm really excited to get her done, and then I think once I do that, I might cast on another project. Maybe the vest, or maybe I can't cast on the other fingering weight projects. I think I only have one set of 3mm needles with me, but maybe the jumper. The silk has been really nice to work with. I think it's quite splitty. I think a lot of people have said that, but it's nice. I think it'll block really well. I think it'll wear quite well. It gets tangled quite easily, which I find annoying when you're switching colours, but I just really like the stripe effect that it's giving. Penrose Knits clearly had great taste when she came up with this. And why, yes, I am wearing a knitted piece. It got a bit chilly in the evening, so this is my cumulus blouse, although I used another pattern. I used I don't know the name of it. It was actually by a French designer, but yeah, I don't know. It had a little collar here, and I was copying Orsa Makes. She had like a big sort of picot edge collar, which was really beautiful, and I did make that, but it just sat super weirdly. And I'd also like made parts of it a bit too small. It was a bit short on the body and then a bit short on the sleeves. So I just removed the collar, and then did I-cord everywhere. I think I had it with ribbing everywhere beforehand, and I elongated a lot of the places that I just said. And then yeah, I just wear it so much more now. It's a really versatile piece. I think it's quite like elevated, which is nice. And it's using the Drops Kid Silk in Storm Blue held double. Yeah. And yeah, there you go. Okay, this is me in my little cabin where we're staying. It's like a lot of wood. Excuse me if you can hear my dog eating its food. It's very small and closed space, so everything that everyone does, you can hear. Yeah, I just wanted to update you how I've been. I think it's been probably quite a while now since the last talking segment. I have been knitting quite a bit. I've been reading quite a few books. I have been working because we are working down here. Actually quite a busy week at work, so not a whole lot of free time yet. I do have some holiday coming up, not next week but the week after, and that'll be like the last full week before we go. I'll have the full week off, which is nice. The weather has gone a bit meh. I can't really complain, right? It's October and it's still like 20 degrees, but there has been quite a lot of rain. We had an amazing thunderstorm last night, but yeah, it's not quite like the summer dreams that I think I was imagining. I casted on something new last night because I finished my clematis sweater, which is really exciting. The clematis actually took ages to finish, like all the finishing touches, because you have to do all of the ribs at the end once you finished. Do you? No, I probably could have done the collar at any point. But to do the 2 ribs along the side, it took, that's like right at the very end of the body, because I'd already done the 2 sleeves at that point. Hello, Cami. And it was just kind of fiddly, like picking up stitches, and it wasn't a lot of knitting. It was just, I think, the Italian bind offs. I was having issues with my Italian bind offs where it's like, it's a strand of fingering and a mohair, or at least on the version that I'm doing, and the mohair was getting really tangled, as it usually does. I know a lot of people like just cut out the strand of mohair when they're doing the bind offs, but I thought I actually like the way it looks when it's like the full yarn. I find it looks a bit like strange otherwise, so I kept that in, but it just made the Italian bind offs really slow. I tend to do Italian bind offs rather than tubular, just because my tubulars look really strange. I think when I do the 2 rows beforehand, it shows like the threads that are crossing this way, and I just think it just doesn't look as neat as an Italian bind off. But maybe I should try it again now and see if it's still the same thing. But yeah, anyway, so I cast something new last night. I have the back panel, well, not really, I haven't actually done the full back panel yet, of something that I was gonna finesse as a cloud sweater, but I ended up just buying the cloud sweater pattern because I think I said in my like previous video, I was like, oh, the cloud sweater is just a drop shoulder and then you add the finishing touches, but then I actually looked at it a bit more in detail and it seems like it's not a drop, it's just kind of like straight along the shoulder. There's a seam, but pretty equal on both front and back, without like a big drop the other side. So I was like, I mean, I didn't have to recreate that. I could have just done a drop shoulder, but I kind of liked some of the touches that they had. Like there's Patina. There's like a garter ridge, I think, along the shoulder from what I can tell, and also along the sleeves, which I thought was a nice detail. And I just couldn't be asked. Like I just wanted something really easy to follow. Having said that, I did have to modify the gauge quite significantly because this is a 13 stitch gauge and the cloud sweater is a 17 stitch gauge, and I'm knitting this on 6mm and she knits it on a 4.5. So I am making the smallest size minus 4 stitches because I think even the smallest size is probably going to be quite oversized on me, and yeah, we'll see where we get to. I think my stitch count is like 76% of the target stitch count, or the other way around, whatever maths is. In my previous video I had a swatch with different options that I was considering against, and in the end I went with, these are my 3 yarns. So we have a strand of woolly knit in the center. This is the British 4-ply in the color lava neon orange, like traffic cone orange. This is cerise, drops alpaca silk, yeah. And then this is the Rico Creative Summer Sprinkles in like a bunch of like neon colors. And together it makes this fabric, which I'm really happy with. I think it's what I wanted it to be. It's not quite the inspiration which I had, but it's definitely the vibe I was going for, so I'm happy with that. The only thing is that I don't think I've ever actually had any like acrylic knitted into a jumper. I've always used natural fibers, so I'm curious to see like what happens with that. It's not like 100% acrylic, it's 50% acrylic and 50% cotton, but that I can still feel that it's like synthetic-y. So I don't know if I'll like the finished product, we'll see. But I'm excited. It's like after working the clematis on 4mm needles, and I'm doing my other t-shirt in 3mm needles fingering weight, this is like a really nice... Cami, could you stop whining? This is a nice change, and it's working up super quick, which is fun. I'll see if I could have my other t-shirt as well. I have joined the two fronts. I don't know where I last left off, but I had my like back panel with the increases a la sibling sweater, and then I've picked up on both sides now and then joined the two fronts. Bearing in mind it's probably going to be more like this. My only concern, quite a big concern, is that that neck looks very wide. I don't know, it doesn't look too bad on me, but I'm a bit concerned it's a bit big. Don't know where I went wrong. Maybe it's my row gauge for the pickups along here, but I think I measured it and I think it's the measurement that's stated in the pattern, so I'm going to double check that and see if I did that correctly. Worst comes to worst, I could probably pull it in quite tight with the neck pickup, but I don't know if it's kind of what I wanted for this t-shirt. I also think I'm probably, like, this is where I'm at with my two balls, like less than 25 grams each, I think, and I'm not even done with the yoke, so and I only have two other balls, so I think I'm probably gonna have to purchase more, and that makes it quite an expensive project, so I want it to be right. So maybe actually once I join, I will pick up the neck and see what it looks like and then try it on from there, maybe block it, and make sure that it's looking the way I want it to look and that I'll actually wear it, which is important, I think, but I couldn't really see. Cammy! The door opening there. My dog escaping to find cats to chase. I think I'll probably do a bit more filming this weekend. My father-in-law has come to visit, so I'll probably just put up some shots of what we're up to at the weekend, but nothing major. Yeah, see you soon.
Even if you wiped it as you're driving.
Yeah. There's all of it in here.
And it'd be great for a little courier around the city.
Oh,
It'd be
yeah.
ideal for that.
Why are you making that face?
Right, ice creams. Let's get a better shot. That was the big one. Top. Yeah, yeah.
It's a very shaky video, guys. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, for terrace actually.
Just ruined my video. Okay, I lied. When I was in Nice, I stopped by Obelin, which is a yarn shop in Nice that I like. I picked up a few things. I think I was just in a mood. I was in a buying mood. First up, the Adriafil zucchero filato, which is my terrible Italian accent. I think this means like candy floss in Italian, or like barba papa. It's a really interesting mix. It's like the core is cotton and then the halo is like wool and alpaca, and I picked this black on white color because I thought it was really unique. I have 4 of them, which is 700 meters. I think I could probably eke out an aura top if I wanted to. Alternatively, there's that new sweater that's coming out with the sort of with the cable cross over the front panel, and it's kind of just sleeves, so I thought that would be really cute. On a whim, I picked up Lang Yoko, which is a lot of acrylic. I don't know what I was doing with that. The colors are super pretty. And this was on sale. This is Lang Zen, which is wool, alpaca and silk, and it was like €40 or €50, and I just thought the color was beautiful. I also owe you a book review. Give it like a 6 out of 10. It wasn't the vibes that I wanted. I was hoping for more of something like the film The Witch, but yeah, it was more just like torture porn, and I didn't really get what it was trying to do. I think there are other books that do it more successfully. I read Earthlings recently, where everything is bleak and miserable, but I got why it was, whereas this one was just a bunch of people dying and being miserable, and I guess I just didn't really get the point of it all. I also finished Tender as the Flesh. This was a quick read. Again, it was okay. I liked the concept. I found myself thinking about the concept a lot, but I don't know how well it was executed. I saw criticisms of the treatment of the woman without spoilers in the book, but I completely get what they were doing with that, so I don't mind that one so much. I just think some of the writing was kind of hammy, like a lot of I remembered the time and sort of like inserting a lot of context and plot, and it's just kind of like I didn't think it was super well executed. I also started this joyous read. Yeah, it's been tough. I'm not that far into it. It's tough because of the subject matter, but it's also quite dense. It's been a while since I've read like a classic like this, but I was surprised that it's actually quite funny and quite comedic. Actually, if you read a lot of the blurbs, a lot of them mention how funny it is, but I just wasn't expecting Lolita to be a barrel of laughs. So I've been wanting to read this for a while. It's a classic for a reason, so despite the subject matter being hard. Also hoping to finish whilst I'm here, short story collection by Miranda July. This was recommended in a YouTube video about weird books that I watched, and then I happened to find it in a charity shop. I'm trying to go through a lot of Stephen King's works, and I've read most of the big ones, but I'm still missing The Shining. I'm coming to the realization that I don't think I actually really like King's writing, but I think really It is the only book that I really enjoyed, and then the rest of them I'm just like, I don't really get the hype, but I should give The Shining a try, at least. This is the first book in the series that became Silo, the TV show, and yeah, we've been looking for this copy for a really long time, and I just want to get started on the series, so there you go.